One item in all of Mario Kart is despised beyond any other, the blue shell. And it's an ingenious weapon because every aspect of it is tailored to cause as much frustration as possible. So let's get into the psychological reasoning behind why the blue shell draws such ire. Well, the most obvious reason is how it only tears you down when you're at your highest moment. The blue shell can only hit when you're in first place, which is a difficult place to get to in Mario Kart. And once you're there, you're at a supreme disadvantage from a combat perspective. You can't see the racers behind you without sacrificing your forward-facing view, meaning that you can't look back for long periods of time. And offensively, you're also in a precarious position, because you're only able to acquire weak items like bananas and green shells, which are inconsistent enough even when you're aiming ahead of you, so throwing them backwards requires impeccable technique. So with not only the effort required to reach first place, but then the difficulty in keeping it, the fact that the blue shell can ruin all your effort with almost no feasible way to stop it is incredibly frustrating. Which brings me to the second reason the blue shell swells such rage in the fandom. It requires no effort. All the player that gets the shell has to do is throw it, and it seeks out the leading player and decimates them. Again, with how much finesse is required to reach the top spot and the difficulty in maintaining it till the end of the race, having this nigh unavoidable item that you're helpless to resist is a spit in the face to your efforts. Well, there's one way to dodge the blue shell, with the super horn, but chances are you'll probably have to use it on a red shell long before someone at the back of the pack throws a blue. Another way to avoid the blue shell is with a mushroom, which you're unlikely to have if you're in the lead because it's impossible to receive from an item box. And even then, the timing of the mushroom has to be pinpoint, otherwise the shell will obliterate you mid-boost. There's also the invincibility star, but if you have that item and you're in first place, you are not playing a normal race. So with no consistent way to counter the blue shell, this automatic and unavoidable attack wastes all the careful strategy or luck that got you into first place. But even with all that, there's still an aspect of the blue shell that makes it more enraging than either of those reasons. Its origin. The blue shell can only be given to a player in positions 9 to 12, at the bottom third of the race. This means that whoever gets the shell is highly unlikely to benefit from it, as it skips almost all the immediate races ahead of them unless they position the throw right. But the shell's intended effect won't even help the person who threw it, only destroying the racer furthest from their position. It's infuriating that this item that requires almost no skill and is unavoidable can only come from the worst players in the race. Even though your skill at racing is much higher than theirs, they still have this overpowered weapon they're rewarded with just for being bad at the game. A weapon whose effect they probably won't even benefit from. Throwing the blue shell doesn't help you win the race. It's purely to inflict psychological damage on the racer in first place. While I personally haven't thrown the blue shell many times in my 400 hours with Mario Kart 8, hold for applause, because I'm pretty good at the game, when I'm losing, it's a deeply frustrating experience, and even if the shell isn't going to help me climb the ranks, I get a deep emotional catharsis humbling the player at the other end of the track, even though I don't get to see the moment of impact. It's a desperate act of defiance, as I spit in the face of the would-be winner of a race I can no longer take the gold in. It's my spiteful declaration of, I'm not winning, so screw whoever is. And this is why the blue shell is blue, because it's some sick, depraved metaphor for the liberal fantasy. In the same way us on the left dream of the billionaire class collapsing and their wealth redistributed amongst the people, the blue shell can only be obtained by the most unfortunate racers, and is an automatic destruction for the racer at the top. There's little the top racer can do to avoid their fate, and once the shell hits, their wealth is scattered amongst their ashes as those behind them soar ahead in the rankings. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there, but focusing back on the mechanics, the blue shell has served as a motivator for me to not rage quit a race when I'm losing, as even if I'm trailing behind, there's still a chance I can gain an emotional victory and inflict a despair we all know too well. So even if you're playing Mario Kart with a casual player and you're a pro, it balances the playing field by still letting that worst player cause you stress, even if they're at the back of the pack. It changes the perspective of winning and losing in a race, because even if you go on to win the game and recover from the blue shell's damage, it's still a heart attack inducing experience in the moment. For more Mario Kart essays, here's one about the changes I would make to the formula, and I'll be back in 2 days.